Bit more on this now. The acting national spokesperson of the African National Congress is Dakota Legoete. He joins me now here for you in our studios. Dakota, good evening.
Good evening, Stephen, and to all the viewers and listeners at home.
I just want to get all of this right to make sure that everyone, there's several facts that I'd like to nail down first. Okay, so is it right to say that both Zizi Kodwa and Pule Mabe have asked to step aside from their positions representing the party as spokespeople in public? Yes,
that is correct. The NWC in its meeting yesterday deliberated, and we decided that it will be important for the SG to consult with them, just to inform them of the deliberations of the NWC. And today, this morning, both comrades were consulted by the Secretary General, and just as a gesture, because you must understand both comrades have not been officially charged. This remains allegations against them, but there's a difference between the allegations of the case of Zizi Kodwa and the allegations of the case of Pule Mabe, because Pule Mabe went through an internal grievance process where his name was cleared. But you'd know, in any administrative action, a right of appeal is automatic in terms of Chapter 2 of the Bill of Rights. The complainant in the regard to the case of Pule Mabe thought it to herself that it will be important for her to take it to external institutions with the CCMA or the police. And as a result of that, Comrade Mabe was on study leave. He requested to extend his study leave, so which by inference means allowing us and allowing himself to stand aside and stand down as the spokesperson of the ANC.
Okay, so he's still officially this national spokesperson of the ANC. That appointment by the NEC hasn't been rescinded in any way?
No, it has not been rescinded. It remains. That's why I'm not the spokesperson. I'm the acting national spokesperson of the ANC. He remains the spokesperson because the decision of the National Executive Committee has not been rescinded.
Okay. Zizi Kodwa had two positions. He was also an acting national spokesperson with you, yes, and he's head of the presidency. He's no longer acting national spokesperson, as you say. Is he now still head of the presidency of the ANC?
Yes, he's still head of the presidency, and I think probably the presidency, at the right time, they will pronounce themselves in the matter of Comrade Zizi so far. But so far, he took it upon himself, and both him and Comrade Pule, in line with the principles and how we're socialized and orientated as a movement, that we are a non-sexist organization. We take the issue of gender-based violence very serious, and all of us, because it's endemic in our society, particularly in the South African society, it must not be reduced to them both as leaders of the ANC, but it must be something that we deal with as a society in South Africa, because it does not only affect the two, it affects all of us as more than 60 million South Africans in this country.
I mean, the ANC hasn't said that in the past when other claims like this have emerged. In fact, you've defended people accused of these things in the past.
Look, it's not necessarily that it may have been individuals who defended others in such instances.
2006 and all of that, Dakota?
Yes, we still remain a non-sexist organization. The rights, in particular, of the victims or the complainants take precedence. The right of those who are respondents or accused also needs to be respected, because they remain innocent until proven otherwise by a competent court of law. And in this regard, it would not be very necessary for us to set up tribunals when we are not the competent authority to administer law and justice in our country. So in this regard, we have limitations, because both comrades, as it is the case now, they have not been officially charged. There is no case against Zizi Kodwa which says he's charged. There is no case. There is a case against Pule Mabe, but he has not been charged. So what they are doing, it's a gesture in line with our way of life as a movement, because the ANC, we are not only a party, we are also a movement, because we derive our existence and philosophy from an African life of Ubuntu. So in Ubuntu, even though you are not guilty, even though you are not innocent, you do an honorable thing, and what they did, it's an honorable gesture.
Okay, but in the past, the ANC has defended people to the hilt under the principle of innocence until proven guilty. I mean, to the hilt. I mean, you all know who I'm talking. You know who I'm talking about, the former president. I mean, he was accused of all sorts of things. That wasn't the thing then. Let me. I mean, you can respond to that if you like. I don't want to deny you an opportunity to respond to that.
Yes, look. Even in the matters of the former president, you'd know that in some instances he was not formally charged. when some of the accusations were made. He has been charged in a number of cases now, which he still has to go to court to. But you know, some of the charges which were brought against him in the past were dropped. So I'm not sure what is different, but we will have to respect the administrators of law and justice in doing their work. I will not be a competent authority for now to pronounce myself, because all of us, whether journalists, whether politicians, whether individual citizens, we must respect and uphold the rule of law, including the Constitution, because innocence until proven guilty is a principle of jurisprudence, and it must be respected as that. It's just like your matter. When it's sub judice, we have to respect it, because some of the matters we are discussing now may end up in court. I may not be in a position to speak like a magistrate or a judge.
Okay. It looks like, to people who are not in the ANC, it looks like a political deal has been struck here. It's well known that the ANC is divided along various lines. Those are often reflected by debates in its top structures. Is this a deal to keep both sides happy? Both sides lose one, both sides have a player taken off the board.
Look, we had our preferences prior to Nasrec in terms of who must emerge as a leadership. So far, delegates at Nasrec said we are not going to prefer any slate. We would prefer that the outcome that comes here must help us in terms of unifying and renewing the ANC. That's what we are working towards.
So there's no deal?
Yeah, we admit that, no, there's no deal. It's a matter of principle. It's a matter of the fact that as an organization, we stand opposed to gender-based violence. And as a matter of fact, it's within the consciousness of any one of us not to overburden the organization and the movement, and not to drag the movement on individual, personal, and private matters. So it's important that, unlike overburdening the ANC, just voluntarily step down or to allow the process to unfold, so that you don't drag the ANC into your personal matters.
Okay, let me run through a series of facts, and you tell me in what I'm going to say now if there's anything wrong or anything unfactual. So, Zizi Kodwa was asked to step aside because of a claim of rape which has been laid against him, which he denies. No claim has yet been laid against the police in any form that I'm aware. That's all correct. Correct?
That's correct.
And then Pule Mabe has asked to step aside after he was cleared of sexual harassment by an internal probe. He also denies the claim. So he's been cleared by an internal probe, he denies the claim, and he's also decided to step aside. I've understood that correctly.
Yes, you see, you need to understand, now as it is the case now, we no longer only work with the issue of principles of innocence until proven guilty. We have reached a point that we also have to deal with how do we defend the integrity and the standing of the organization. So the comrades saw it upon themselves, which is a very good gesture, which is camaraderie and very good for the ANC, that whether we are innocent, whether we are guilty, whether charged or not charged, we should stand down as spokespersons of the ANC, remain members of the National Executive Committee. In particular, Comrade Pule remained the spokesperson of the ANC, because that's an ANC decision which has not been rescinded. Now they stand down so that the name of the movement must not be dragged into matters which are more personal and private. And that's very good. And it's a good gesture for all of us to learn throughout the country, and even as members and leaders of the ANC, to understand that as we get dragged into other things, we harm the brand called the African National Congress, in particular where we are faces, either being a spokesperson, being a leader, being a public representative of the ANC. We need to know that and appreciate that for the good of us, in particular in society where there's an endemic problem of gender-based violence, wherein women and children every day find themselves in trouble because of the brutality that they get from their male counterparts. And that's a matter that any leadership or any leader who's conscious of what is happening in his surroundings to take a proper direction and to take a proper decision. And this gesture that is demonstrated by the two comrades, we take it very serious as the African National Congress, and it will go a long way in educating men within our movement, not only to be denialists, but also to appreciate that this particular matter is not only our individual matter, but it's an endemic problem in our society.
Dakota Legoete, thank you very much indeed. I fear we're going to keep you very busy over the next few weeks.
I would appreciate it.
As the acting national spokesperson of the ANC. Thank you very much indeed for your time.